You glanced at your phone the second you woke up this morning, before you spoke a word, before you ate anything, before you even remembered what day it was. You checked for threats. You didn't think of it that way. You thought you were checking messages, but your brain had a different idea entirely. Here's the part that changes everything. The brain sitting inside your skull right now is not a modern brain. It is not built for the world you live in. It is an ancient machine, shaped by pressures that vanished thousands of years ago, running inside a body that never got the update. And it is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is that what it was designed to do and what your life actually requires are two completely different things. This is not a metaphor. This is neuroscience. Your brain is roughly 1.4 kilograms of tissue that has not changed in any meaningful structural way for at least 300,000 years. The prefrontal cortex, the part handling your logic, your planning, your ability to read this sentence, is there. But underneath it, running faster and louder than almost any other system in your body, is something far older. Researchers call it the limbic system. You might know part of it as the amygdala. And the amygdala does not care about your calendar. It does not care about your rent, your career, or whether you remember to reply to that email. It cares about one thing: keeping you alive in an environment that no longer exists. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping how the amygdala processes fear and threat. What he found was startling. The amygdala receives sensory signals and fires a threat response before the conscious, rational parts of your brain have even received the information. You react before you think. Not because you are impulsive, because your brain was built in a world where a half-second delay could mean death. In that world, the threats were immediate. A predator, a rival from another tribe, a stranger who might or might not mean harm. Your brain learned to treat ambiguity as danger. Unknown equals threat. Unusual equals threat. Alone equals threat. Now think about your commute. Think about your inbox. Think about a stranger walking towards you on the street. Your amygdala fires the same pattern it fired on the savannah. Not because the threat is the same, because the signal is familiar enough. Because your brain is running ancient software on a completely different problem. Psychologists call this mismatch evolutionary lag. Your hardware evolved to solve a problem that no longer dominates your daily existence, but no one told your hardware to stop. Consider something called negativity bias. This is one of the most well-documented phenomena in modern psychology, studied extensively by researchers like Roy Baumeister and his colleagues in a landmark 2001 paper titled "Bad is Stronger Than Good." The finding is simple and devastating. Your brain registers negative information faster, holds onto it longer, and gives it more weight than equivalent positive information. One harsh comment lands harder than 5 compliments. One moment of rejection lingers longer than a full day of belonging. Why? Because in the ancestral environment, missing a positive signal, a piece of food, a potential mate, had manageable consequences. You might go hungry. You might miss an opportunity, but missing a negative signal, a predator, a warning, a shift in the group's mood, could mean you were dead before sundown. So your brain evolved to be exquisitely sensitive to bad news, hyper-tuned to threat, always scanning, always looking for the thing that could go wrong. That system saved your ancestors' lives for hundreds of thousands of years. In your life, it gives you anxiety at 2 a.m. about a meeting that hasn't happened yet. There is another piece of this. Your brain was built for a social group of roughly 100 to 150 people. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar proposed what is now called Dunbar's number, the cognitive limit on the number of meaningful social relationships a human brain can actively maintain. Around 150. That is the number your social brain evolved to track. Alliances. Hierarchies. Who owes who a favor? Who might betray the group? Who is angry with whom? Your brain was designed to manage a village. Now it is trying to manage Twitter. Every time you check how many people liked something you posted, your brain is running a social status calculation. It is measuring your standing in the group. It is checking whether the tribe still values you, whether you are safe. Because in the ancestral environment, social rejection was not uncomfortable. It was a death sentence. A person cast out of the group in the Pleistocene did not go home and feel sad. They died. Alone, Outside the group, you could not hunt effectively. You could not defend yourself. You could not survive a cold night. Your brain remembers this, not consciously, but in the way your chest tightens when someone ignores you, in the way public embarrassment feels almost physically painful, in the way being excluded from even a trivial social event can ruin an entire afternoon. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman, in his research on social pain published in his book Social, showed that the brain processes social rejection using some of the same neural pathways it uses to process physical pain. Being left out hurts. Not metaphorically, neurologically, because your brain still believes that being left out could kill you. And then there is the unknown. Your ancestors lived in an environment where the unknown was genuinely, physically dangerous. An unfamiliar sound at night, a shadow at the edge of the fire's light, a path through the forest you had never walked before. The unknown equaled risk, so your brain developed a powerful automatic response to anything uncertain, anything outside the familiar pattern. Alert, heighten attention, prepare for threat. Today, that same response activates when your routine changes, when you are given an open-ended task with no clear instructions, when you are waiting for news and no one is telling you anything. The uncertainty itself is the trigger, not the actual danger, just the absence of known information. This is why vague threats are more distressing than specific ones. This is why waiting for a diagnosis feels worse than hearing bad news. Your brain cannot evaluate what it cannot see. And what it cannot see, it treats as dangerous. None of this makes you broken. None of this makes you weak or irrational. It makes you human. It makes you the product of an unbroken line of survivors stretching back further than language itself. Every person who ever lived before you, all the way back through 100,000 generations, survived long enough to have children. The ones who were too trusting, too slow to respond, too unbothered by social rejection. Many of them did not make it. You are descended from the anxious ones, the vigilant ones, the ones who checked the darkness one more time before they slept. That is your inheritance. The question is not how to get rid of it. You cannot delete 300,000 years of evolutionary engineering. The question is how to see it clearly, to recognize when your cave brain is running the show, to notice when the threat alarm is firing at a situation that is uncomfortable but not actually dangerous. To understand that the anxiety you feel before a presentation is the same system that once scanned the tree line for predators. That the sting of a critical comment is the same system that once measured your standing in the tribe. When you understand the machine, you can choose not to be fully governed by it. You glanced at your phone the second you woke up this morning. You were checking for threats, and now you know exactly which part of you is doing the checking, and exactly how far it has traveled to get here.